In the United States, over 30,000 people die from firearms each year. If there was a way to lower this number, why wouldn't we do it? I'm going to tell you why the U.S. should have gun control. People think of gun control in many different ways that range from eliminating guns completely to simply making guns harder to own. In the next few minutes, I will tell you how making guns harder to own and buy will lower intentional shooting rates, accidental shooting rates, and suicide rates. 15 of the top 25 worst mass shootings have occurred in the United States, according to the Washington Post, including one of the most recent that left 18 elementary school children dead in Sandy Hook, Connecticut. If gun control was put in effect, close to half of the homicides that happened in the U.S. may not have happened. As you can see in this graph, the United States has the highest number of gun-related homicides compared to most other countries. This is because, as the Washington Post says, about half of the killers for mass shootings have brought in their guns legally. With gun control, there would be a required background check on everyone before they purchase guns. No one with a criminal record, mental illness, or anything else concerning would be allowed to purchase guns. Also, guns from gun shows could not be purchased without a background check, unlike how it is now. Obviously, shootings can't be eliminated completely, even with gun control. However, the number would reduce significantly. One of the most common forms of accidental shootings involves children, especially under the age of 12. On July 8, 2013, in Chicago, a 4-year-old boy shot and killed himself with an unsecured and loaded gun. A blog called Slate says that there were 2 other loaded guns in the same room. No more than a week earlier, another 4-year-old boy shot himself and his 6-year-old sister, with a pistol that had been left on the living room table. Both of these tragic accidents could have been prevented if gun control was in place. Having guns locked up and kept unloaded is part of Obama's gun control plan. Around 1,500 people die each year from accidental shootings, and an unknown number of people are seriously injured, according to GAO. It would be very difficult to control how responsible people are with their firearms, but with the extra rules that gun control would put in place, a huge amount of innocent lives could be saved. Suicide is the leading cause of gun deaths in the United States. Roughly half of U.S. suicides are committed using a gun, and according to USA Today, suicide with a gun is fatal 85% of the time, making it the most effective and easiest way for someone to take their own life. This graph shows how that committing suicide with a gun is close to 50% more effective than any other way. 9 out of 10 people who commit suicide were diagnosed with a mental illness. With gun control, these people would not be allowed to own guns. This may seem like an obvious law to have, but there are still states in the U.S. that allow people with a mental disease to purchase guns. Most people are still very doubtful that having gun control could actually lower suicide rates. However, the New York Times reported that the statistics from the Gun Control Act of 1968 shows that the states that did have gun control laws saw suicide rates drop. If all states had gun control, unlike before, even more people would not commit suicide. Many studies have shown that if a loaded gun took even just 3 more minutes for someone who is suicidal to obtain, the urge to end their own life could be lost. Of course, there are other ways for a person to commit suicide, but if we would take away the number one way, thousands of lives wouldn't be cut short. The United States has seen over half of the top 25 worst homicides. A large amount of children accidentally shoot themselves, and about 20,000 people take their own lives each year. The majority of these events were committed by people who were not in the right state to have a gun in their possession. If the gun control law is not passed, criminals and people with mental illnesses will continue to be able to buy their own guns and do what they please with them. This does not only endanger their own lives, but everybody else's as well. In this debate about gun control, it is frequently implied that supporters of gun control are anti-gun completely. I come from a family that has multiple firearms that are locked up and kept unloaded, and we are still supporters of gun control. Most of the proposed gun control laws are common sense laws that all gun owners should follow. It is impossible to completely stop all gun violence, but it could be very easy to lower the number of deaths by firearms.
Woo! Woo! Ow! Keep clapping. It's 4:50.